So what do they call you?
Growing up, call me
Yep.
JB.
JD,
Or
what are you incarcerated?
Little Monkey.
Little rookie?
Little Monkey.
Little monkey.
Yeah, Little Monkey.
Okay, JD, little monkey, man. May I ask, what are you incarcerated for, sir, and how long is your sentence?
Incarcerated for second-degree murder, and the sentence was 19 years to life.
Where are you from out here?
Hello? I'm from East Oakland.
Do you or did you, at any time point in your life, belong to any type of gangs, groups, organizations, sir?
Yep.
Do you mind stipulating what you were associated with?
I'm from the 90s. I'm from 900.
Okay.
East Oakland, and growing up over there, it's no Crips and Bloods and stuff like that. You know, them sort of like brand name gangs and things like that. But you always had crews, little dope crews, criminal crews, hustling crews.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Would you be able to go a little deeper into that, JD? You know, I've always I grew up in Southern California, so I've always been aware of course, of the Crip gangs, the Blood gangs out here, and that's pretty much it for the most part. But I've always understood that up north, Northern California, San Francisco, Oakland area, that they play a little bit different out there. Would you be able to explain to us exactly what's going on out there and what kind of different neighborhoods out there, and how did you find yourself involved?
Well, to talk about that, you got to kind of understand the history of it. So growing up, back in the days before I was born, it was a couple OG crews around, like the Family, the Mob, Felix Mitchell and the 6ix9ine Mob. It was more like organized around drug sales, extortions, robberies, murder for hires, stuff like that. And that kind of like permeated the whole culture of the city right there. You never really got the chance to do, or you never got a chance to take foothold with the little gangs that wasn't beholden to those original crews. So by the time I grew up, Felix was dead already. He had already went to jail and stuff and got killed in the feds. And then his nephew, Lil Durrell, that took over. And they was selling a lot of crack. This was the crack era. And that kind of like was the dudes we looked up to, who always organized and structured themselves around, you know, sales, drug sales, controlling different streets, controlling different neighborhoods. That's the best way to put it. It was more like a baby or a minute level of, I guess, colonialism, where it's like you got crews that go into different neighborhoods and either set up shop through peace or set up shop through war. And that's how it carried on. That's kind of like the legacy. That's kind of the legacy that was born to me and my cousins. Hello?
And how did things slowly but surely start to progress, man? How did you start to get deeper into this lifestyle? And what do you remember?
Well, with me, what I remember with me is that it started off first with us not having nothing, right? You know, growing up not having much or nothing, and going from a little bit of stability with the parents having jobs and doing well to the parents turn around and getting addicted on crack, and then just pretty not having no oversight or research, no oversight or anybody looking over you at all. So it turned into sort of a survival mode. And for me, I wouldn't get into the dope thing for a minute. I stayed away from that. My older cousins, they was involved in it, and they was doing like little small time hustling, but they was still having little stuff. And for me, it was more or less a situation where I was the last one that stayed away from it, and then finally had to give in and get down with it because, you know, somebody had to pay this rent. Somebody had to get it down with this, you know, put some food out here on the table. Had a little brother. So individuals had to step up for him. Yeah, and that began me into that whole lifestyle right there.
When did you notice that perhaps you making these decisions would impact you significantly? When did you start to notice that this wasn't no joke, that the lifestyle that you decided to dive yourself into was very serious?
It's crazy because for me, I don't think I did ever notice that until I was already locked up. On the streets, it was more or less, I was so young and so, I guess, goofy or naive to a lot that was going on around me. And my only obligation was to stay loyal to my cousins and immediate peoples over the top of me. So I didn't really see the real seriousness of any of it, the impact it would have on the community later, the threats, the I didn't really see any of that until had a chance to really sit down and think about it once I was already gone. So looking back, there was attempts on my life. There was, all kind of recklessness that went down with us in the streets. But back then, it was in my mind funny, like, well, that went like that, or we would laugh and talk about it. We really think about it in terms of life and death. Like, man, that could have been it right there, or that could have been over right there. Instead, you thought about it.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Thought about it more like that just happened and brushed it off, kind of kept on going. If you know what I'm saying, like it's just kind of like it didn't weigh on me until later, years later.
What's the closest call?
You mean with death?
Yeah, what's the closest call? What's the closest brush of death that you had?
Oh man, the closest brush gotta be when hanging out on the block. I had my homie Glenn, he rest in peace now. He got killed in Frisco, I think in like 2011. And but this was like in 90 something when this happened. And his girlfriend come around the corner and tell him that his mother wanted him. He was an abusive dude, so he had told his girlfriend, "Don't come around here. Like, don't come around here. Don't come to the neighborhood and ask me nothing." So we ended up slapping her. And when he slapped her, her homegirl was with her. Was another homegirl from down the street, Angie. She was, she got these brothers that's heavy hitters. And when he slapped her, she went and told her brothers, like, she got slapped. So when they pull up, I don't know, 10 minutes later or whatever, and get out the car, immediately they pull up and say, "That's him right there." She say, "Yeah." They hop out, and I don't know what he had in his hand, but it was big. He aimed that thing at me, and just so happened, my mom's was coming outside of the apartment, and I was standing on the apartment steps, and she seen it before I could see it, and she hopped in front of me, and that's the only thing that stopped dude from like blasting me. That's probably the closest right there. Or it's like really, like, damn.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
But even that didn't weigh on me enough to stop me from going out there. That just kind of like happened, and then it came up and it played out how it played out in terms of like, I went and told my homies that this would happen, So now it turned into what it turned into.
So you've been incarcerated.
That would be the closest.
You've been incarcerated over 20-something years. You obviously are incarcerated for second-degree murder. But before this unfortunate incident happened that turned your whole world upside down, obviously you had a life. 2 months, a month before this incident, what is going on in your life? What are you doing? What are you up to? Please explain to us, man. What's going on in your life just a little before this crime?
Okay. I had just gotten out, AWOL from a juvenile facility, so that's going on. I had a warrant, so of course I'm avoiding the police. Came home to like a chaotic situation where it's like Moms is over here still in her addiction. Pops ain't seen him in I don't know how long. They had split up by then, like maybe 15 years. And 2 months before this happened, I come home and I already knew what I was coming home to do, which was dive right back into what I was doing that got me sent away into juvie in the first place, which was handheld sales, couple, jackings here and there, trying to build a financial pot. Trying to make it that way. That's how. That's the whole time I came home. That's the whole way it was going until all of this kicked off and turned into what is now, this conviction at this time. This began with my cousin having a high-speed chase with the OPD and shooting the OPD. So when he shot the Oakland police, the homie that was in the car with him, he turned on him. He informed on him immediately. So it became a go get him type of mind frame. And then that turned into a whole bunch of other stuff, a whole bunch of other chaotic stuff going on in the neighborhood, within the neighborhood. We ain't talking about dealing with other cars from other spots. We talking about just all within my little neighborhood.
So what ended up happening, man? Please explain to us, man, if you would, kindly, man. Take your time and enlighten us, man. How the hell your whole world turned upside down? What happened, brother?
Yeah, so like I kind of alluded to right now, my older cousin is like my brother. Like I don't have any older brothers, so he's like my older brother, like 2 years older than me. Look up to him my whole life. And looking back, he didn't even have to hustle, but he did. So once he went to jail, and I talk to him on the phone, his mind was like, man, I'm not getting out. Like, it's over for me. Don't trip. Just make sure, this dude that told on me, make sure he get it and I'm cool. I don't care about nothing else. That became my singular focus right there, to take care of that for him. You took care of me for years, I'm repay you taking care of this. And what happened is, I pull up, dude's out there, we hop out the car. Well, I hop out the car, my homie that was with me went the other way.
How did you know where he was at?
Walked over there. Or they told me, word travels, like in the neighborhood, so-and-so's down the street. I just seen him at the corner of D Street right now. I'm in the apartment.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I'm gonna hit you back.
Please, man. Please call me back, sir.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. What happened is, I'm in the apartment, and my cousin called from the county. He's telling us, he's confirming that, he's telling us, hey, this dude, he gave me up. So while we talking about it, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes later, somebody came up the steps and was like, hey, I seen that dude right now. He's over on D Street. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, okay, really? So I'm in a room full of dudes all older than me. So I'm thinking everybody is gearing up to go over there, but really it was just me. So I go over there, hop in the car, go down there, which is not that far, like maybe half a block and a half. Get down there, hop out, walk up to the crowd, talk to a few people, and trying to address the guy, like, hey, come over here. I'm trying to talk to you. And he wouldn't come. And the OG, one of my OGs, hopped up in the middle of it and I guess he kind of knew what was in the air. So he's trying to shut it all down. He's trying to like, nah, man, you got to get up out of here, man, and he get to me and him kind of get into it. So
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I'm not going nowhere until I address him. And it spiraled out of control. Next thing you know, well, not no next thing you know, I pull out the gun. Everybody get to scattering, and get on. I shoot at the dude, and end up hitting OG. OG dies. Dude I came to get got away. Stayed out maybe, I ran from there and stayed out maybe about 6 months, and then was arrested and went to juvie for first degree murder, and then the trial ended up finding me guilty of second.
That night, after this murder happened, where did you go?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what was your thought process?
I went to my aunt's house. She didn't know nothing about it. She stayed over in like 20 blocks away. I went to her house, and I didn't think about it. Like, I think it came up in my mind fleetingly, but I did not think about it. I felt like, damn, you know, he shouldn't have got in it. I was in my mind justifying it all way, like, man, he shouldn't have got in it, man, and I hope he survived, because I didn't know he had died yet, because he shouldn't have got in it, man, and I wonder if I got the dude, I wonder if I hit him. That came up in my mind from here and there, but I really didn't think about it a lot. I just kept stay distracted, doing other stuff, playing video games, looking at the news, trying to see what was going to come of it.
Were you nervous? Were you scared? Did you think that at that point in time that you had gotten away with it, or did you think that, you know, your time was going to come?
I was definitely nervous. Because now in the uncharted waters, right? This is new. So definitely nervous, definitely spooked, definitely thinking, damn, okay, what's next? Right? Like what's next? Like what is next? I don't know what next is going to be, but I hope it comes, or I hope I'm going to be all right in the result of it. But, you know, my mind frame was just, I forget it. You know, just store it out your mind and play the role. Right? Play the role.
You're responsible for taking someone's life. You murdered someone.
Right.
How does that impact you? Does that change you in any type of way? And looking back, obviously this murder took place a long time ago. Has it changed you? Did it change you? Did it impact you significantly?
Definitely over time, not immediately. It's almost like getting incarcerated around this was helpful in the sense that it didn't allow me to keep going. Because I no doubt would have kept going, playing the role, right? And by me playing the role is like, well, at that point your mind frame is like, fuck it, F it, it is what it is. So you have to kind of like I had to kind of wrap my mind around that, where it's like, okay, this is what we doing, or this is what I'm doing. Whatever comes with it, comes with it. That's the mind frame of a 16-year-old at the time. You know, where it's like you can't really see around the corner. You can't really see the depth of what all just went down. Even though you know it's serious, you don't view it in terms of, man, it's just, you just set off a ripple effect that's about to affect many of people, lives, communities. and no telling the outcome of a lot of this right here. Like even today, I had one of my victims' nephew who was like a kid. He was like 2 or 3 at the time. He reached out to me on his GTL, and he told me, "Hey, you." His first lines to me on GTO was like, "Hey, I'm so and so. It was my uncle that you killed. I know. I heard. He said you messed my family up when it happened. We straight now, but I always want to hear your side of the story." So here it is, 20, 30 years later. The ripple effects is still, or the effects of it is still having an impact on people's lives, opinions of the world, how they see stuff, they trust in the world, right? They hold sense of safety and security in the community. It's still having that devastation. It's still carrying on a trauma.
Okay, there's a variety of things that I would like to know, and hopefully you can answer them in order. I would like to know first of how it is you got caught, and once you got caught, who was the first person you contacted, and how did this impact your family? Not only your family, but did you have to listen to the victim's family? How did it impact them? What do you remember?
Okay. How I got caught, I went to Reno, hung out in Reno for like a couple months, ran out of money, came back to Oakland to get some money. One of my cousins had some money for me, and at coming to retrieve that money, they swooped on me. Gang of cops swooped down on me. Like somebody called him and said, "He's here." Right? Bam. It was almost like a trap, a setup. Cousin swear he didn't have nothing to do with it, but a couple people knew I was coming, so we never figured that part out, who actually played a role in that. Then when I got to juvie, first person I called was my other cousin to tell her that I was locked up. She said, "Okay," my whole family knew I was running from this warrant. They didn't know about a new charge, so I didn't tell her about it. I just told her I was locked back up. So they thought I was in jail for the new charge. The next question in there was, how did it affect me, or what was it?
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Help me refocus.
How did it impact the victim's family? Did you have to see the mom, the brother, the sister? Were there any words exchanged? Right. Did you have to listen to the impact statement?
No, they didn't do that. But the mother did make a statement inside of the police report where she was saying how she witnessed it, as a matter of fact. But it's kind of like a contradiction there. But that's all technical. But she was definitely impacted. She was definitely at every court date. The mother, I think his sister, and one of his kids' mothers. I think there was 3 women there, 3 people there on his behalf. And then there was no victim impact statements or nothing like that read. I think they were just satisfied with the verdict.
I can hear you, my friend.
I said the mother, his sister, I think one of his kids' mothers, they were the only ones there in court on his behalf. And then they didn't make victim impact statements, but they did. I think they were satisfied with the verdict. I think once they got their verdict, they was like, okay, fine. Did you hear me?
So what did you end up pleading out to? And what did you end up pleading out to? How much time did you get? And how did that hit you? Did you shed a tear, man? Having to face the reality of life in prison.
Right. So now when I talk about this, I'm taking you back to the time, my mind frame in those times, right? I'm not talking about now how it affected me, but then, like in those moments when it actually happened. So when they found me guilty, my mind frame had already been made up that I don't care. Well, I kept telling myself that. Remember, I'm 16, I'm 17, so I don't care, whatever. I'm not even going to live this out. I'll be dead by the time I'm 23, 24, 25. I'll be dead up in there somewhere, so I'm not really worried about this sentence. My mind is still fighting back up against, what I did wrong, the seriousness of what I did, the impact. My mind is still justifying it, still fighting up against it, where it's like that's the youth in you just fighting back, just rebelling back against society or however you want to frame it, where it's like, I don't care, it's whatever. So if I'm guilty, by the way, and our vice president today was my DA in my case, Kamala Harris. You're familiar with her?
Yes, that's absurd.
Yeah, she argued my conviction. She argued and won my conviction. Yes. So, but she won her case. The family was satisfied with that. I got tried as an adult. They sent me from juvie to adult court. And, sends me to 15 years to life with a 4-year guns enhancement for second-degree murder. My defense at trial was I was scared for my life, and I didn't mean to shoot and kill this victim, which I didn't mean to shoot and kill this victim, but I didn't ever bring out the fact that I did go to kill somebody else. I didn't bring that out until I went to parole board these 20-plus years later. And it's crazy because as soon as I told them the full truth about the case, they immediately believed me because they just immediately believe me. Like, oftentimes in a situation here, they don't believe anything you say.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
You're saying anything to benefit your case. When I told them the truth of the matter, that, hey, I was going to hurt this other person and end up hurting this person here who I didn't mean to hurt, who I didn't have a problem with, they immediately understood the case better. So it kind of helped me years later to tell the truth or to open up about all the aspects of the case. You get what I'm saying?
100%. 100%.
Yeah, so now because of that, I'm able to speak about it a little bit more. I speak about it more and more. I speak about it with my cellie. I speak about it with my family. I speak about it with old friends that I get reacquainted with. It's still old friends that from my neighborhood that won't talk to me because of that, because they felt, that was wrong, and I could.
So looking back, man, you've had over 20-something years to reflect on your life decisions and your life choices. Was it worth it, man? Was it worth it, picking up a gun that day and seeking vengeance, seeking revenge? Was it worth it?
Absolutely not. No, in no way, shape, or form. Not only for me, but I mean, look at what this did to my mom. You know what I'm saying? In her mind, it really messed her up guilt-wise. It messed my father up guilt-wise. My victim's mother, like, she really was close with her son. Like, that was her baby. I think that was her only son. And I think she had her son and, 2 daughters. Hell no, it was nowhere near worth it. Nowhere near worth it. To describe it as not being worth it is almost not really giving it its full weight. It just wasn't even something that was supposed to be in the mind frame for me. And the fact that my criminal deviance had gotten so far to where in my mind it was okay to move this way. It was normal for me to think, well, deal with this problem like this, grab this gun, deal with this problem like this, shoot at another human being. I was off the rails. No way was it worth it or ever it could have been worth it. It just kids shouldn't be thinking like that. Kids definitely shouldn't be thinking like that. And sure, it's somebody, it may be a person or two in my life that told me that, but the people I would have respected coming from, they weren't saying that. And I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying they kind of lent themselves to the validation of the criminal deviance that I was going through at the time. So it made it okay for me to be outside of the law, outside of morality, and just kind of a crazy person almost. Without really being, clinically proven to be crazy, but you kind of like your reality is not the socially accepted reality that good people live by, healthy people live by,
If there was some advice, if there was someone you can speak to, someone from Oakland or from anywhere for that matter, who's maybe following in the same footsteps, who's going down that same path that you once were going down, man, straight from the bottom of your heart, bro, from one older homie to the next, what would you tell that person?
Man, it's so much to say to that person that I would have to bite my tongue a little bit because I would just be another old person talking now. Youngsters got a way of tuning stuff out. I mean, if I could say one thing out of many things, wow. I don't know that words would be enough, man. I would really try to show them something different, and as far as letting them know you've been there, they know that already. I think they know that. They can sense that. You talk their language a little bit or you move the way that they understand a little bit. So they identify with that. That body language translates over. But the best thing I could think is to, show them some stability, some consistency, something good. Try to compliment the positive about them, kind of compliment the good stuff that you see in them, and let them know that good that you see in them could be the thing that makes a difference for them as they grow up. But they got to grow up. You got to survive this right here where you are, this moment right here now. And if you don't somehow make it, then, it would be an absolute waste to have you not make it. I think that's an angle that I would take when talking to the youth, because that's the thing I was missing, a lot of that positive reinforcement, that positive influence for somebody to just be like, you better than this right here. You got a better chance. The stuff you're doing right now, understand you think you have to, but this is just a moment in time. This moment can become your forever if you get too steeped in it. I think them the points I would stress, and then I would kind of back off and let them kind of think about that and throw that message out there again when the chance came. But one thing I know is trying to talk to them too much, trying to focus stuff on, get them to focus too much is almost like setting yourself to get tuned out. And I know this because I got 5 little brothers,
Before we wrap up this part 1, is there anything else that you would like to say? Any last messages or any shout-outs, anything that you would like to say before we end this part 1, sir?
Well, thank you. Thank you for keeping not giving up, man. I know it was a long time we was trying to get together and do this and begin it, and just want to say I appreciate what you're doing. That makes sense. It makes a big deal. It makes a difference. I just, just grateful for that. Grateful for the opportunity.
And I also want to apologize. I also want to thank you for not giving up on this interview, man. I had this little boxing match going on, believe it or not. I boxed another YouTuber about a week ago, so maybe in these last 2 months, man, I have dedicated a lot of time to that. So I apologize and thank you that we finally were able to get this interview done, man. And it was a great story, and I wish you a lot of luck and success on your journey, my friend.
All right, man, I appreciate it, man. And hey, who'd you box? Somebody I know? Somebody I might have heard of?
You probably I don't think you might have heard of him. His name is EBK Family. He's a native out of Watsonville, California, out of Northern California.
Okay.
So he's another Hispanic. It was a good little match. I whooped him just to throw it out there.
You won?
Yeah, I won. Yep, third round. Made him stop. Made his coach throw in the towel for him. So technical knockout.
Oh, so this is regular boxing, old school boxing, no MMA stuff.
Boxing. No,
straight up boxing.
Yep,
Okay, cool.
MMA's a whole other animal.
Okay, yeah, it is.